are done to serve their interests.
Thank you. The whole idea of repair is not the idea of a check alone. It is the idea of the transfer of requisite knowledge to repair the damage that ignorance and 400 years of injustice have done. Knowledge can be given to our people. We are healing our people with the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Islam. And we know that our people can be made whole. An agenda is being formed by the Black Caucus, the Hispanic Caucus, and there are Black scholars right now meeting to formulate an agenda to put before the presidential candidates. That includes health care. That includes insurance, health insurance. That includes an end to racial profiling and police brutality. Now, I know that Senator Kerry says, I'm going to produce 10 million jobs. But we know we're the last hired and the first fired. And according to what I just read, there are 9 million Americans seeking employment. Black folk have dropped out of seeking. So I know that America cannot provide for the millions of her own unemployed as well as ours. And that's why our agenda must think in terms of a future for our people, not integration, not a false hope of sitting next to a white child that will be beneficial to you, but equal access to information and knowledge. For once you know what the other man knows, he can no longer rule you. And as long as you're being ruled, it is because you have an inferior knowledge. And that's why the Bible says, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. So knowledge is that which will give us repair. And of course, looking at the prison population that are now, according to the 13th Amendment, being made slaves again because they violated law or charged with a violation. Prisons that house and warehouse our people must be turned into institutions that correct and heal so that these young people can come out of there never to return as we come out of the wombs of our mothers, never to return. Prison must be a womb that nurtures and cultivates so when we come out, we never return. And that will not be done by government programs. That will be done by the wise use of $600 billion that comes into our hands each year that is spent in frivolous things. But if we redirect our own money, we can build institutions that serve the needs of our people. And all we need for any president and any Congress to do is to open the way. We'll take it from there.
Honored Minister Louis Farrakhan, my name is Dana Carl, calling from, I'm addressing you from the Power XM Satellite Channel 169 and Radio 1. We're talking about the neocon. What kind of agenda is it going to take to address their agenda and counter that if it's not too late? Can something be done? Do we have the power and the resources to handle that?
The question is not whether America has the power and the resources. The question is whether America has the will to change course, to change direction. And what I'm afraid of, you see, many white people in this country know that what I'm saying is right. Many white people in this country would like to be bold enough to speak as I speak. But they know that they do not wish to be called anti-Semitic. They do not wish to anger those who can make life difficult for them. But if you think of the future of this nation and its people as more sacred than your life, then stand up like men and women and say to this country, enough is enough. Pull away from that agenda and elect people who would be willing to do that. Your Congress, I wonder sometimes what Governor Dean meant when he said we must take back our country. Take it back from whom? That's why he's probably not there, not for a scream. Somebody knew something of what he was thinking when he said, take back our country. The special interest, yes. But the neocons, yes, yes, yes. Take your country back. If you don't, not only have you lost it, but in the end, like Pharaoh, you will lose the country, lose the power, lose your prestige in the world, and ultimately lose your lives. Last question. Oh, I have 5 minutes left on the satellite.
Jason Parker from the Real Hip Hop Network. You held a meeting in 1995, the Million Man March, which brought brothers from all over the world in one place, in unity and brotherly love. Will we ever have something like that, of that magnitude again? A message that I think, and a lot of people think, that is so important to keep instilling in everyone's head so they don't forget how important it is.
Thank you. I am right now reflecting on that. I'm not so much interested in a march. I'm not so much interested in gathering 1 million or 2 million men in one place, unless it is to direct those men to do that which will liberate our people. Unless it will direct those men to direct their dollars so we can build institutions. There's no reason for Morris Brown to close. There's no reason that we don't have hospitals and clinics across this nation to service our needs. But it is the misuse of our dollars. And so I don't see any reason to call 2 million men again, unless we're calling them for serious work. Not that we called them for the lack of serious work the last time. But to be very honest, I was so shocked myself. Even though I called for it, if you had asked me a week before, do you think you'll get 1 million people? I would have said, we'll get whatever God pleases, but I don't know. I have to be honest. The night before the Million Man March, they came and told me 100,000 are already on the mall. I broke down in tears because it was hard to believe. I said, you must be telling untruth. They said, Minister, come, I'll take you and let you see. Now, I know it was the right thing to do, not to fire up black men to be silly. But it is the right thing to do today to collect ourselves as men, to build a national reality of a liberation struggle that really frees our people and gives our people a sense of purpose and dignity. I will, over the next few days and weeks, consider whether we should bring our brothers back to the mall for such a purpose on the 10th anniversary of the Million Man March. Last question. Yes, sir.
My name is Brother Imam Akbar. I am the staff writer and editorial writer for the New Black Panther News.
Yes, sir.
In the beginning of this recent conflict with Iraq, the notice of the insurgents, they said, came from the Sunni Triangle. Eventually, they came from 1 a day, 2 a day, many Americans dying up to now, maybe about 10 a day. And we want to know, how does that relate to, is there a rejection of white supremacy in the East and in the Islamic world? And how does that relate to Africa and the liberation struggle in Africa? And how do we directly relate that to the liberation struggle of black people right here in America?
I don't think that that which is happening in the Sunni Triangle has anything to do with a rejection of white supremacy or white rule. It's not in color. They reject an unjust occupation of their people. And I say this, that what America has done is unite Sunni and Shia who have been separated for 1,400 years. And now they're not waiting, they're taking the fight to the American soldiers. They're now shooting mortars where the soldiers are. The gentleman that died recently, the former football player, died in Afghanistan. The Taliban are rising again, and they are killing and fighting American occupation there. It is serious. You are not getting what is really happening. But all that is happening, dear brother, in the Arab world and the Muslim world affects Africa, because the predominant religion in most of Africa is Islam. And so here in America, I close with this. The neoconservatives would like to pit Christianity and Islam as enemies of each other. And we are not about to fight the Crusades all over again. As Muslims, we've been in among black people for 71 years. And most black people today love Malcolm X, but Malcolm was a Muslim. And they learned from Malcolm X, the Muslim. They learned from Muhammad Ali, the Muslim. They learned from Imam Warithuddin Muhammad, a Muslim. They learned from the many ministers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we have been in the churches with Christian pastors. There is no conflict between us and our Christian family because we believe in Jesus. In fact, we're trying to follow in the footsteps of that great revolutionary. So the Christian, the black Muslim, and the black Hebrew should now come up and take leadership in America and show white Christians and white Muslims and white Jews how we black Christians, black Jews, and black Muslims get along in peace, in love, and in brotherhood. Thank you for listening. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. Thank the press for coming, and thank you for listening. And I pray that whatever I've attempted to say today will resonate in your hearts and in your minds, that we can save ourselves and this country from the course that she's on.
To the members of the press, we have a press kit for you, and also a copy of today's press conference will be made available to you. And again, we want to remind everyone that all of the information, the documents that were presented, including the letters that Minister Farrakhan wrote to President Bush, you can see those and obtain a copy by logging on to www.finalcall.com on the internet. Also, to all of those who are visiting from other cities, and of course to the Washington, D.C. community, Minister Farrakhan will speak again tonight at 7 p.m. from the Lincoln Theater. That's located at 1215 U Street Northwest, right here in Washington, D.C. Again, at the doors open at 6 p.m. and the program begins at 7. Minister Farrakhan will be at the Lincoln Theater tonight.